Okay, hi everyone. In this today's video, we are going to talk about clustering. Clustering is one of the important unsupervised machine learning technique. So all of you know that supervised learning. In supervised learning, every dataset having a class level is there. Means every sample belongs to which class. So in the training time, the supervised learning algorithms learns the pattern between input and output, and that patterns after once it learn, it can easily do the prediction for the new test sample whose class level we don't know. So but here in the data set the class level is not available. Okay, only data samples are there. So in unsupervised machine learning technique, this clustering technique is one of the unsupervised machine learning technique. It is trying to study the input data points. Okay, what are the samples are there, and it is according to some characteristics, according to some similarities, it is going to group them. Okay, so here we can define the definition is like that. Clustering is a process of grouping a set of data points into multiple groups, maybe two groups, three groups. It is going to group them. And what is the condition here? Object in one cluster have a higher similarity compared to objects in other cluster. So if a data point belongs to cluster 1 and inside whatever samples are there, they are more similar compared to if I take another object from cluster 2. If I compare, their similarity is less. Okay, so here one cluster objects have higher similarity and but dissimilar to the objects of other cluster. So see one example, you see here, this is a data set. Some points, random points are there. Star, if we star indicates, let us check that this circle indicates potato. This this indicates the star indicates basically, so basically your tomato, and this is like potato. Okay, and let's this triangle indicates walnut. Okay, so let three what is these are? These are three types of fruits. Okay. So now if I provide these fruits to a sorting machine, so what is the job of sorting machine? It is dividing to different groups. You see here three groups are there. So the sort you can search in YouTube and see many cases where sorting machine dividing different items. So here three items are there, fruits are there. The sorting machine is going to divide into three groups. You see here this the potato coming to this bucket, this tomato coming to this bucket, and a walnut belongs to another bucket. So they are going to separate. This sorting machine doing in the same manner. The clustering also algorithm also doing. The clustering algorithm study the pattern. So here how the sorting machine doing? It checks tomato properties. They are similar in some way. Potato different, maybe weights or size. Walnut also different. So according to some properties, some characteristics, this sorting machine dividing them, groups them. Okay. So in the same manner, clustering algorithms are there. You can see some data points here. You see a lot of data points are there. If I want to cluster them, I can create two clusters. Okay, here these points are very close, they are very similar. You see here, these are the points, they are very much close, they are very much similar. Okay, these are the points, they are a little bit difference are there. So there we can create two clusters. If I take the similarity measures the distance. So distance, these points are very close compared to these points. Okay, so and these points here more less similar, more similar, and that's why distance is less. And here these points they are similar in their way. So if I find the distance between any two points in this cluster and any point in these two clusters, you see distance here less, and if I find distance between this point to this point, then distance is going to be more. Okay, so this is the definition part of clustering. And after that, and the clustering having some properties, a good quality cluster, how can say that this cluster is good? If a cluster is said to be good if intra-cluster similarity is maximum. What is intra-cluster similarity and what is inter-cluster similarity? See, if I want to find the distance between these 2 points, okay, these 2 points, you see this is a group. This is cluster 1 and this is cluster 2. Okay, this is cluster 1 and this is cluster 2. So the points those are belongs to cluster 1. if I find the distance which is going to be less, if I find the distance, this distance or similarity is known as intra-cluster similarity. Intra means inside one group. But here you check the if I want to find the distance of this to this, means this point belongs to cluster 1 and this point belongs to cluster 2. If I want to find the distance, this is going to be more, means they are less similar. So this similarity is known as inter-cluster, means it is similarity between 2 points of 2 clusters. This point belongs to cluster 1, this point belongs to cluster 1. This similarity is known as inter-cluster, and within a cluster, if I want to find the similarity, this is known as intra-cluster similarity. So in clustering, I can say a clustering is good quality if their intra-cluster similarity is more, but inter-cluster similarity is less. Okay, so and some points you should consider. So here we are due to clustering handles on level data points. On those class levels are not defined. It is unsupervised learning task. Second point, you can say clustering is a kind of is a form of learning where learning happens, learning by observations. So we have to observe and group them according to some properties. So we can observe in real life situations. We can observe who are similar, who are dissimilar. We have to observe. So that's why learning by observation, and it is also known as automatic classification. Basically, in the classification, we have to do the training, and when new data is coming, we can do the prediction. But here, see, class level not available, but we have to study the properties and we have to group them, means we have to classify like and job we are doing. So that's why its name is automatic classification. And it is what is data segment. It is also known data segmentation because it segments, it breaks the data in different groups. So okay, so these are some alternate names of clustering. And also I want to define a real life situation where you can say clustering working. You can say one example. For example, in a university, in C.V. Raman Global University, there are in a batch, there are a lot of students are there. So the university want to increase the placement. They want to provide placement to all the students. But inside one batch, there are like 1,000 students are there. And to make the better placement, we cannot provide same training to all the students because some students are weak, some students are good, some students are excellent. So for that, to provide better training, we can cluster the students. Those are performance better, we can put in one group, and those are middle, we can put them other group, and they're low means those are weak student, we can put them in other group. So that according to the students situations, according to their knowledge, according to their we have to provide the trainers. So those are very good. We have to provide some good better kind of trainers. So and they no need to teach them the basic concept because they are the very good students, they know the basic concept. We should go for advanced kind of training, and those are low students, we have to provide some basic kind of training. So in this manner we can increase the performance of the training. So here also cluster working in the same manner. Some applications, for example, you go to any shopping mall. In the shopping mall, the items are placed in different places. For example, if you go, they have sections: men section, women section, and you find t-shirt section, jeans section. So why these are? Because the clustering concept telling that similar items should be put in similar place. So if a person go to purchase, all item he can find, he or she can find in one place. Okay. Another example of clustering you will find Amazon, Netflix, Amazon or Netflix movie recommendation. For example, if you have watched some movies according to your watching pattern, so what kind of movies you like. If you like action movie, automatically when you open some recommendation, it will come to, it will recommend you to watch next same kind of action movies. So Netflix, they are doing the same thing. They will recommend, you have watched this movie, you have to watch that kind of movie, like that. So and also we people are nowadays doing online shopping, and according to our history of purchasing and how we are purchasing, what kind of item we are purchasing, also Flipkart and Amazon also recommending some items. Okay, so there also we have what we have clustering also working. And also, if you go to the applications like a market segmentation, some companies before launch a product, they have to understand what kind of customers they have. Accordingly, for example, they have to segment the market. For example, if they want to launch one product, they have to first divide areas. If, for example, they want to sell some items, they have to study these people can purchase or not, so they have to study beforehand. For example, any kind of product, they have to study what kind of customers are there. They have to group them according, for example, salary group. If any people salary more than 1 crore, so for that kind of customer they can launch some products like car. If you go for car, BMW, and some kind of high level cars, Mercedes, they can produce, they can recommend. If anybody any customer, for example, earning less salary, they cannot afford this kind of product, so according to the customers requirement, they can produce the product. Okay, so market we have to divide, you have to study what kind of customers are there, accordingly they have to produce the product. Then identification of cancer cell for in the body. So clustering also, it will identify the similarity. If the cancer cells, they have some similarity, it can group them, and which cell is not similar, which cell is the cancer cell, which cell is non-cancer cell, it is going to identify. In search engine, you people know that Google search engine, if you type any name, for example clustering, or any hero name, Shah Rukh Khan, or maybe any product name, if you search in the so after you click Google it, a lot of links is coming. So how it is coming? According to their query, it will give you which links are more similar. So you will find many options are coming one by one. So like that, search engine also working according to the query. It is find which links, which websites are more similar. It is output is coming. So how this is the also work of clustering. Anomaly detection, for example, any credit card fraud. So anomaly detection means it is first group their customers, and buying pattern, it will study that if any customers buying pattern in one kind of abnormal activities, that means it is a one kind of anomaly. So anomaly means in here you see a lot of points are there, they are similar. If you take one point here, this point is not similar. Okay, so this is dissimilar type, so it is going to be considered as anomaly. So it is group the customers, group the activities. If any activities not similar type, then it can consider as anomaly. So credit card fraud, if any fraud happening, that activity they can identify. Image segmentation, basically in image, so many it is going to parts them. If you want to, what are the parts of this image, to identify any kind of image. Also in image, what are the parts are there, it is going to segment that. And the social network analysis, many people are there in the social network, and what is their similarities also, we can group them. If we want to launch any product according to the social network, which people having personal traits, we have to also find that. And statistical analysis, people also using clustering to group on the data. So here some applications of clustering, and some examples of clustering. And also before we group the data, we can do two kind of clustering. One is hard clustering, one is soft clustering. What is hard clustering? Hard clustering means all the points either means they have to belong to one cluster. At a time, one sample cannot belong to many clusters. But in case of soft clustering, one item can belong to many clusters with certain degree of membership. Okay. So for example, you see here, A is a data point. It belongs to cluster 1, 0 means it is not going to, it does not belong to, and it is 1 means 100% belongs to cluster 2. B is a data point, C1 0.75, C2 0.25, means it belongs to both cluster with some degree of membership, means maximum point it belongs to this class, less point belongs to this class. Like some memberships are there, like some probability values are there, that this data point belongs to which group. And what is hard? Hard means you see here this data point directly you have to define which cluster it is going to belongs to. So you have to define these things. So I hope you got some little bit idea about clustering, This is very easy concepts, and in the next video we have to define what is the types of clustering and what are the statistical measures are used in basically clustering. So in the next video we will see. Thank you all of you.